Hello, my name is MooingCat and welcome to my guide to the 2022 fall event. In this video, I will go through all you need to know about the event, including the mechanics, the new rewards, including the new main building, if you can get the new main building fully leveled, and more. Now, as always, if you want to skip ahead to a specific section, you can do so using the chapters or the timestamps in the description. And if you want a written version of this guide, you can find that as well linked in the description. And that's the guide I will be using during this video to explain all the things I'll go through. Now, one final thing before I start. If you find this video helpful, feel free to share it with your friends and guildmates, and also leave a like and a comment on the video, as that really helps me out. All right, let's get started by talking about the brand new buildings, and there are 3 of them this time. So first of all, the main building is the sunflower oil press, and here you can see it fully leveled. It has 9 levels. At max level, it gives population, happiness, coins, supplies. The amounts depends on your age, and it gives 12 forge points, 34 goods, and 3 units. It is 6x4, so relatively big building. Now, the building itself, for attackers, it's not really that good. You do get a few units, which are nice, of course, but no attack boost or anything like that. So I imagine quite a few people will not be bothering with placing this building. Personally, I will probably not in my cities, but if you are in a developing city or if you are focusing on forge points or goods, this is quite a nice building for that. And yeah, I would definitely get it if you have the space and want to get more of those stats. So overall, it's an alright building for some, but for attackers, it's not that great of a building. Then we have 2 new buildings, both of which you can only get from the event pass, which is quite a shame. Still, let's go through them and let's see how they are. So the first building here is a limited building. It is the Cobalt Blue Lagoon. Now, if you're not familiar with limited building, we did get one in the summer event. That was the first introduction of them. But basically, these buildings only give their bonus for a limited period before it simply reverts to a simple decoration with no bonus at all. So this specific building, the Cobalt Blue Lagoon, will double the first 2 buildings you collect. So after you have collected the Cobalt Blue Lagoon, the next 2 buildings you collect will have their production doubled. This is more or less the same as the Blue Galaxy, except that it is guaranteed on those 2 buildings. And you can actually use it in combination with the Blue Galaxy for a 4 times multiplication of the rewards from a building, which can be quite nice if you have some long chain buildings. Now, the limit of this building is that you can only use it for 5 collections. So after you have collected the Cobalt Blue Lagoon 5 times, it will revert to a decoration, and it will only give 250 happiness. It will no longer have any other bonuses. So yeah, it's a nice bonus for a few days, but then eventually it becomes quite a useless building. But it can be nice in certain scenarios. This building you get immediately after you unlock the event pass, which you do by spending 1200 diamonds. So this one you get immediately. The second new building you can also get from the event pass, or can only get it from the event pass, but this one you get after 300 stars, which, as I'll go over later on, you will not be able to get for free. So to get the donkey enclosure, you need to spend another 8,000 to 9,000 diamonds. So what does the donkey enclosure give? This one is also 2x2. I think I forgot to say that about the Cobalt Blue Lagoon, but both of these are 2x2 and both require a road. The donkey enclosure, this is not a limited building, it is permanent, it's a regular event reward building. It gives 1 unit between 7 and 26 goods, depending on age actually. So this is actually the first building that has a scaling amount of goods, depending on age, so that's interesting. And it also gives between 6 and 12% defense boost for your attacking army, which is quite a lot for a 2x2 building. It's not as good as the Sentinel, but it's not too far away in the higher stages. It also gives some city defense if you care about that, but I think most people will care about these, the boost and the productions it produces. So overall, the Donkey Enclosure is a really good building, though as I mentioned, you can't get it for free. So yeah, there's that. And you can only get one if you want to get it. So yeah, I wouldn't focus on getting it, but if you do want to spend diamonds, it's a nice additional bonus if you do decide to get the event pass. All right, so that's the 3 new buildings. And here you can see the first one in the event pass rewards. The Cobalt or the Donkey Enclosure is quite quite a long way further here after 300 stars, which I'll mention. Now in terms of grand prizes, you get 1 grand prize for the main building, or 1 upgrade kit for the main building every other grand prize. So starting at 1, 3, 5 and so on. You do get 25 forge points immediately, so especially if you are on a new world, it can be quite useful to claim those immediately if you need those for technologies, for example. So yeah, that's a nice additional bonus early on, has been like that for a few events now, so that's nice. All right, in terms of the event pass, there are a few other interesting buildings. After 7 grand prizes, you will get the Checkmate Square, which is quite a nice building. After 8, you will get the Sentinel Outpost level 1. After 10, you will get the Shrine of Knowledge level 1. And with free currency, this is as far as you can get with the event pass. You can't go much, or you can't really go beyond this for free. So if you want to go further than this, to pick up the Rogue Den, Shrine of Knowledge upgrade kit, and the Donkey Enclosure, the brand new building, you do have to spend diamonds. After this, there doesn't seem to be any new other buildings from the event pass. You can see a full list on the wiki page if you want to. This is just the buildings. There are some other rewards as well. But yeah, this is a quick overview of what you can get from the event pass. Personally, I don't think the event pass is that appealing this time around. These are quite nice, and the Donkey Enclosure is nice. So if you are spending diamonds, if you do end up getting to the Donkey Enclosure, in that case, I think it might be worth it to get the event pass. But if you only get here, I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't. It's still an alright deal, getting these 2 buildings here for 1200 diamonds. But it's not that great of a deal. So yeah, I'll leave it up to you if that is worth it or not. As usual, you get the main building, level 1 building, and 2 upgrade kits from the milestone rewards, as well as some ingredients, which I'll go over in a moment. Alright, let's talk a little bit about daily specials. So, this event has some really good daily specials. Let's first talk about which I would recommend for attack boost. So for attack, my main recommendation is the fall set, the Harvest Farm set. I have quite a few different layouts that you can check out here in this link if you want. That will bring you to my sortable table. It will be sorted by fall set already. So here you can see a few different alternative layouts for the fall set for attackers. And here you can sort it by attack, for example, by defense, combined attack and defense, for example. So you can have a look at that if you want. Or you can also check out this video from last year, I believe it was, where I go over a lot of different layouts for the fall set for attack. So you can check that out as well for suggestions on layouts. But yeah, in general, the fall set is a really good set for attack. It has the highest attack per tile of any option in the event. Even for pure attack, definitely for combined attack and defense for attacking army, but even for pure attack for attacking army, it has the highest efficiency. And it also gives a lot of attack per daily special, around 7 to 9 combined attack per daily special, depending on the layout you choose. It also gives some nice forge points, goods, and so on, happiness in addition to that. So overall, I think it's a really good building, and it will be my main recommendation. For me, the main contender, or possibly the only contender, is the Stage of Ages. This one also has quite nice attack per tile. It's definitely not close to the full set, but it does give more attack per daily special, especially in higher ages, and it also has some very nice goods and forge points. So it's a good option. Personally, I recommend the full set, but yeah, it's also a nice option. And yeah, if you can't get any more full sets, for example, if the daily special has already been around, the Stage of Ages would probably be my second go-to. Another alternative would be the Winner's Plaza. This has a better attack per tile than the Stage of Ages, especially in higher ages. So just for raw attack, this would be better than the Stage of Ages. But again, the full set is better than the Winner's Plaza. And the full set doesn't need any roads, so that's another bonus. The Checkmate Square, I probably wouldn't go for that, unless perhaps it's the final day and you just need to spend your ingredients. In that case, it's alright. And of course, if you want defense for your attacking army, the Sentinel Outpost is a really good option. You will get more defense per daily special going for the full set and defense-focused designs with the full set, but nothing beats the Sentinel when it comes to efficiency for that. So yeah. A few very good options here. Again, my recommendation, the full set, then probably the Stage of Ages and Winner's Plaza below that. Wouldn't get the Checkmate Square. Or if you want defense, you would go for the Sentinel. Alright, moving on to forge points. Here again, my main recommendation would be the full set. So the full set also has some very nice forge point designs. You can sort here by forge points or forge points per tile, for example, and you can get some very nice designs for the full set. I also have this video here going over different full set designs for forge points, so yeah, definitely check that out if you want some inspiration. So with the full set, it has the highest forge point per daily special, or not the highest, it has the highest forge point efficiency, so highest forge point per tile. It has a very high forge point per daily special. It is narrowly beaten by the Stage of Ages when it comes to forge points per daily special, but in terms of forge points per tile, the Stage of Ages is around 3 times worse than the full set. So if you want to get forge points, I strongly recommend the full set for that and forge point specific designs. Now, a compromise between attack and forge points. In that case, the Stage of Ages is interesting, but purely for forge points, my recommendation is the full set. The Golden Crop, I wouldn't really get it. It's not that great for forge points. The only reason why I would consider going for this is if you have a few, or missing perhaps 1 upgrade from last year, 2 upgrades from last year, and want to finish it. In that case, you could go for it, but yeah, I wouldn't go for the Golden Crops. I would focus on the full set if you want forge points. Similar for the Log Cabin. It does give nice forge points per daily special, but actually it's not that far away from the full set in terms of forge points per daily special. So yeah, I wouldn't get the Log Cabin. Alright, finally we have a few situational items. The Renovation Kit should appear, as well as the 6-hour Mass Supply Rush. Both of those could be interesting. As has been the case for over a year now, I think, there are no Wishing Wells or Shrink Kits from the daily specials. I do believe there was one for the grand prize. Let me quickly have a look again. I believe there was one here. Wishing Well, yeah. So there is one here, but you will not get this far for free. So yeah, for free you will not be able to get a Wishing Well in this event that way. The Menagerie, that's an interesting option if you want goods. It gives the highest goods per daily special at 25 goods per daily special. Though the full set is better, there are some good specific designs. I covered those in this video as well. There are some good specific designs that have higher goods per tile than the Menagerie and the other options. So yeah, it's still an interesting option if you want a lot of goods. If you are looking for something to sell to the antique dealer, the best option seems to be the Stage of Ages, which sells at 11,500 coins and 15 to 25 gems for the 24-hour option. Alright, let's move on to my quest cheat list. So this event is a little bit interesting. After a handful of rush quests, the quest line actually splits into two parallel quest lines that both run at the same time. So for most of the rush quests, you will have two quest lines that you can complete at the same time. So here I have split those. I think this should be quite obvious. So questline 1 and questline 2, those run parallel to each other. And after you have completed this, for example, the next quest on this slot will be this one, or actually one in between, and so on. So yeah, every even number here are the second questline, and the odd numbers are the first questline, like this. Then after the rush quests have completed, or the final rush quest is a single one, and then the daily quests are a single quest line. So yeah, again, as usual, you can look at these if you want some help. If you are on a brand new world, I would probably recommend checking out the actual, or check out the Wikipedia, the fandom wiki, where you can see a full list of the quests, because if you are on a brand new world, there might be a few additional quests that are challenging, but I'll leave that up to you. Alright, let's talk about the event mechanics. Now, honestly, there's not really that much to talk about in terms of event mechanics. It's a classic choose 1 out of 3. Each turn you will have 3 recipes, 3 different cakes to choose from. Each will cost a fixed amount of ingredients. There are a total of 15 recipes. There are 5 1-ingredient recipes, 5 2-ingredient recipes, and 5 3-ingredient recipes. You can find a complete list here if you want. You can also find that on the fandom wiki, and you'll also see in game. If you hover over one of the recipes, you will see the rewards you can get. Each has a given chance of giving the daily special. Here on my written guide, I have included that chance in front here of the recipe, so you can check that out if you want. Now, the selection here, in the example, we have one of each group, so one cost or 1-ingredient recipe, 1 2-ingredient recipe, and 1 3-ingredient recipe. But you don't always get one of each. I believe the selection is completely random, which means that you could get multiple, or often do get multiple options from the same group, or costing the same number of ingredients. Even 3 from the same group. So I believe it's completely random. Not sure if there is anything to it. So yeah, you don't always get a mix of 1, 2, and 3 ingredient recipes. They can be different. Anyways, so as you bake, you simply pick one of the options and you spend those ingredients, you get the reward. For each ingredient you spend, you get 1 star. You can see how many stars you get here. You get 1 star per ingredient. They will be added to the board here. And then when you get to 20 stars, you get the next grand prize and you start over again. And excess stars will roll over to the next board. So for every 20 ingredients you spend, you will get 20 stars and you will get 1 grand prize. Alright, in terms of the number of ingredients you can get and how you can get ingredients, there are a few interesting things. So as usual, you start with some ingredients or some event currency. You get some each day when you log in. You get from daily, or from the rush quests, from the main quests. You get from daily quests. After that, you get from milestones, as we saw earlier on. And this time you also get, or this has been the case in quite a few, or all fall events, I think. But in this event, you can also get ingredients, event currency from daily challenges. So starting on day 2 of the event, one of the 2 options of the daily challenges will reward 2 ingredients. And if you, as I'll go over in a moment, if you want to get the main building fully leveled, this is definitely something you do need to do. So yeah, that might be a bit challenging on new worlds, but I will talk about that in a moment. Now, if you do complete all of this, you will get 185 ingredients split between the 5 different types of ingredients. So there are 5 different types of ingredients. We have apple, caramel, chocolate, cinnamon, and pumpkin. And as you could see above, each recipe costs a certain number of a few specific ingredients. All right, so in addition to the grand prizes, the stars also count towards the leagues. So the league is quite simple. For each star you get 1 point in the league. And depending on how active your server is, or your world is, you will end up somewhere based on how many stars you get. And I'll talk about that as well in a moment. And outside of that, there's not really a lot more to the mechanics of the event. So let's talk a little bit about strategies. And here as well, there's not really that much to talk about, but there is, or the main thing you need to think about is choosing the right recipe to bake. And here there are 2 considerations you need to make. First of all, you should naturally optimize for daily specials, but you should also try to balance the ingredients you have. So let me first talk about optimizing for daily specials, and then I'll talk about balancing. So optimizing for daily specials. Now each recipe will give a specific number, or has a specific chance of getting the daily special. So some of the recipes will be better than the others. And here it is important how high the chance is per ingredient spent. So, for example, the snickerdoodle recipe costs 1 cinnamon, so 1 ingredient, and it gives a 10% chance of getting the daily special. So that is 10% chance of getting the daily special per ingredient spent. If we look at another example, the apple pie, for example, that has a 15% chance of getting or giving the daily special, but it requires 2 apples and 1 cinnamon, so 3 ingredients, which means per ingredient, this one only gives 5%. So to figure out which option you should choose, if you play on browser and have FOE helper installed, you can use that. The helper there will tell you which option is best. Alternatively, you could just calculate it in your head. You can divide the 2 cost recipes by 2 and the 3 cost recipes by 3. Compare all of the numbers to the 1 cost recipe if you have one, and then simply pick the highest number. Or alternatively, you could also just look at this table here if you want to, and pick the highest recipe here. So these are sorted by the chance per ingredient, which is what is in this column here in the beginning. Now that's the first consideration, but if you always choose between the same recipes, for example, if you always choose these recipes here, you might end up running low on these ingredients. So in certain situations, it is more important to balance your ingredients than choose the optimal option. And the reason for this is that if we go back here, now of the 3 options you get, say for example in this situation here, I didn't have any more apples or chocolate. If that was the case, I couldn't bake any of these recipes here. And that would mean that I am stuck with 3 pumpkins, 2 cinnamon, and 2 caramel. So I would be unable to continue, and I would still have ingredients remaining. So if you are not careful about balancing how you spend your ingredients so that these numbers here are always not exactly the same, but close to each other, especially towards the end of the event, this is important. So to ensure that, sometimes you have to pick a suboptimal option. So for example, if I go back here, here I have an example, so let me just go through this example. So say that you are running low on pumpkins, and you have 3 options: the pumpkin spice cookie, which costs 1 pumpkin, the caramel apple, which costs 1 caramel and 1 apple, and the pumpkin pie, which costs 2 pumpkin and 1 cinnamon. In this scenario here, the pumpkin spice cookies are the best option in terms of daily specials, but if you are low on pumpkins, it might actually be better to pick the caramel apple instead, which doesn't cost any pumpkins, and that way you're able to balance out your ingredients a little bit better. So that's something that you need to judge for yourself, and yeah, so there are a few factors on judging this. It's mainly up to you and how careful you want to be, I suppose. But for example, I personally always go for the cinnamon or chocolate options. So snickerdoodles and chocolate chip cookies, I pretty much always go for these, regardless of how my stock are of cinnamon and chocolate, because they are simply that much better than the other. But for example, say that I can choose between, for example, the pumpkin caramel cheesecake and the pumpkin apple muffin. So say that I am running low on caramel. If I had these two options here, I would probably pick the pumpkin apple muffins, even though the pumpkin caramel cheesecake is better. That way I'll be able to save the caramel, and it's not that big of a difference. But if instead the option was between this and, let's say, this, for example, here, even though I could save caramel if I was a little bit lower on that, the difference is quite a bit higher, between 7 and 4.67% per ingredient. So you have to judge for yourself how and when to save a little bit on ingredients. And the main difference is how big of a difference is it between choosing the less optimal option and how low are you on a certain good or a certain ingredient that you're trying to save on. So yeah, I leave it up to you which one or when you do it. I think it's just better to just play, and you will see, you will find the right situations for you on when to do this for yourself. All right, now let's talk about one of the main questions I suppose people have. Can you get the sunflower oil press fully leveled for free? I already made a video about this a couple of days ago, and the quick answer is maybe. It's not guaranteed. It depends on how active your world is. So let me explain why. To get the main building fully leveled, you need 9 levels. You get 3 from milestones, so you need to get 6 more, either from grand prizes, or you need to get 5 from grand prizes and 1 from a league reward. So if you go back to leagues, you'll notice that the top 20%, so the top 3 leagues, give at least 1 selection kit for the sunflower oil press. So let's first talk about getting all 6 remaining selection kits or upgrades from grand prizes. Doing so requires you to spend 220 ingredients for 220 stars. Now, as I mentioned, you will get 185 ingredients for free if you do the daily challenges. You can also pick up ingredients from incidents, but probably nowhere close to the 35 you need to get to 220. So for free, you are very unlikely, I would say it's not possible, to get to 220 stars for free. You're more likely to get somewhere around 200, 210 stars, but not 220. So that means that you cannot get all upgrades for free from the grand prizes. So that leaves the other option of getting the final kit from the league reward. So in that scenario, you only need 5 upgrades from grand prizes, which is 180 ingredients, and that should be fairly simple to do. Then you need to get the final selection kit for or upgrade from the leagues. And to do so, you need to land in the top 20% of leagues. That means that 80% of players will not be able to get the main building fully leveled for free, which sounds really bad. In my opinion, it is really bad, and I have said multiple times I think this should be updated, but it is what it is. It doesn't appear to be updated. So only the top 20 players on a world will be able to get the main building fully leveled. Now, in practice, this is not as bad as it sounds. In fact, on many worlds, if you simply play through the entire event, do all the quests, pick up incidents regularly, you should be able to get into the top 20%. But it is definitely not guaranteed, especially on new worlds where there are a lot more active players, a lot more diamond spenders. It will probably be more difficult to land in the top 20%. So it's not guaranteed. I would say that if you are in an old world, a relatively inactive world, getting into top 20 shouldn't be that hard if you're able to do everything, collect incidents and so on. But on a new world with a lot more active players, a lot more diamond players, I don't think it is likely to get into top 20% for free. So basically, that means that if you are on an old world, I think it should be possible to get the main building fully leveled for free, but on a new one, not that likely. All right, let's round off this guide by talking about some diamond spending and how much it will cost to get additional daily specials and the sunflower oil press. So, how many diamonds per daily special? It's a little bit difficult to tell. It depends on how, if you go back up here, it depends on how high you're able to, or how high chance you're able to get per ingredient you spend. And that depends on how much you need to balance and how often you're able to pick the optimal choice. Now, if in a theoretical scenario where you are always able to pick the optimal choice, the average average chance per daily special is actually around 8%, because you're always most of the time able to pick one of the top ones. So yeah, in that scenario, it's 8%. The average chance per ingredient is 6%. So if we look at those two numbers, if we look at 8%, you need, or you will get on average one daily special per 12 or so ingredients. Sorry for that. If we look at the 6% number, you will get one daily special per 17 ingredients on average. So I think the actual number is somewhere in between here. It's probably closer to the 12 number than 17, but I think using the number of 15 ingredients per daily special is a good, relatively conservative estimate, and it also makes the calculation quite easy, because the max option for buying ingredients, you can buy 30 ingredients for 2,450 diamonds, which means that using this 15 ingredient number, you will get 2 daily special for these diamonds, which means each daily special will be around 1,225 diamonds. Now, if you're able to choose the best recipe options more often, the number here will be slightly lower. If you have to balance more, the number here will be higher, but I think around 12,500 diamonds, so 1,250 or something like that. So yeah, a little bit over 1,000. And also, quick aside, I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but I think you should be able to get between 10 and 15 daily specials on average from the free event currency. So that's quite all right. Finally, how many diamonds do you need per additional sunflower oil press? Here it depends a little bit. So assuming you get or are able to spend 200 ingredients for free, and that you get the final level for the first building from the League rewards, you need an additional 9 kits for the next fully leveled buildings. Now, starting from 200 ingredients, that means you need an additional 17 grand prizes, which is 340 ingredients. Now, as we see here, if you land in the top league, Star Baker, you will get 1 additional sunflower oil press selection kit. This here is a golden crop selection kit, the last year's main building. So if you land in top 1% here, you will get 1 additional selection kit. On beta, the cutoff here was 302 ingredients. So that means that you might also be able to get away with spending 300 ingredients for an additional 15 grand prizes, and then picking up the final kit from landing in the top league. So, depending on if you do end up in the top league or not, you have to spend either 24,500 diamonds or 28,350 diamonds to get a second sunflower oil press fully leveled. Beyond this, you need 360 ingredients per additional sunflower oil press, 18 grand prizes for 29,000, or which will cost 29,400 diamonds. So yeah, each additional sunflower oil press will cost somewhere around 25 to 30,000 diamonds. And all of this, yeah, the diamond cost here, the fact that the sunflower oil press is not that good, the relatively high diamond cost per daily special means that I don't think this is the best event to spend diamonds on. Of course, the fall set is really good. That in itself might be worth spending for. But yeah, because of the diamond cost and because the main building isn't that good, not sure if I would recommend spending diamonds in this event. Alright, I think that's all I have to say for this video. I've been going on for too long already, so let me end it by thanking my Patreons for their support. I would like to thank Homestar, Fort Prefect, Lorden, Rock'n'Robin, Kim Cayley, Rolf the 8th, PQ the Goat, Dan Simonad, JT, The Rev, Merrick B, Hugo Khan von Count, Jon Fredriksen, Truth Journalist, Filda, Rush, Susan Weiss, Megarock, Rocco, Eric, Berthan Emrys, Henrik Derek Lerberg, Mattia, Upshitty Obsessed, Rav, Kim, Adarel, Mike, Wolfboy, Flavius Belisarius, and Atomic. Thanks a lot for your support. Thanks for watching, take care, and have fun in the event.